Welcome everybody to the Lavish Show. I'm your host, Dr. Shira Stallworth. I'm so glad to be with you in our new season 6. I thank you for all your support throughout all the seasons. On today's show, we have a very, very special guest and also a veteran who is a queen in her neighborhood and in the community. I want you to enjoy the Lavish Show, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Shira Stallworth, and also Creative Women Enterprises Television Network, and like my pages on Facebook. I want to know you, and I want you to know everything that I'm doing in the community. I want you to sit back and relax and enjoy the Lavish Show.
It gets better and better. 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 Better, 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 better. It gets better and better. It gets better and better. It gets better and better.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Lavish Show. I have a very phenomenal guest right now sitting on the platform. Her name is Miss Khadija St. Ann. How are you today?
I am doing great. And yourself?
I'm doing fine. If you don't remember her face, she was one of the forerunners of my campaign to elect Shira Stallworth for mayor of Morris Point. And she has showed so much effort, support in everything that I was doing. She works in our community and also in the organization that we run, Creative Women Enterprises, and she just blew me away the first time that I met her. And so she's a queen, and I want her to be treated as a queen, and she's a pillar of this community. And not only that, she's a veteran, because I love taking care of people, and what I want to do today is just ravish you and, you know, just let you tell the people who you are and what you do.
Thank you, Shira. My name is Khadija St. Ann. I am a veteran. I'm a 23-year active duty veteran.
Wow.
I retired 2 years ago, 2 days ago, made 2 years from Hattiesburg out of Camp Shelby.
Okay. And, you know, what made you get into the military?
Well, I grew up in a very poor community, and leaving high school, I really didn't think I was smart enough to go to college, and I knew that my family didn't have the financial resources. So I kind of prepared myself a little bit. I did ROTC for 3 years at Biloxi High, and I had 2 children by the time I graduated high school. So I figured that it would be a great stepping stone for me to step out on faith and trust God and see what happened, you know, over the course of my life, and I have been blessed tremendously.
Amen. And one thing that drew me to you was your integrity and character. You know, when I met you during the campaign, you was the first to initiate things and things like that. Like, you call orders, you call shots. So I knew it was something different about you. And like you said, you grew up on the coast and you joined the military. And during your experience with the military, what did it teach you?
I was a child that needed a lot of discipline, and not so much as physical discipline, mental discipline.
Okay.
Because, you know, a black home is structured in a way where you have no other choice but to do what mama says do. So that discipline wasn't what I needed. I needed to be mentally challenged and to understand that in life there's gonna be an order that has to be followed. And in order for you to be successful, it's gonna start with discipline.
Right. That brings me to the youth that we deal with. Even in the campaign, we was feeding the senior citizens, feeding the homeless, and, you know, dealing with the youth and educating our youth. How do you feel military will help our youth? Would you recommend our youth join for that very reason of discipline? What do you think about that?
If you would have asked me maybe 25 years ago, I would have said, absolutely go in, do 30 years if you can. My answer is not too far off now. I would say that a lot of our youth in the communities that we grow up in, they do need that, what you would call a jump start in life. I wouldn't recommend, I'm not gonna say I don't recommend, let me refrain, but I would say that it doesn't have to be a career move.
Okay.
Because once you learn that discipline and that structure that it gives you, you can do anything that you want to do. And I'm not saying that the military is the only way, but lessons are learned around your surroundings.
Yes.
People that come into your life, they speak into your life, you engage with, they kind of pattern you to have a certain character. And to be honest, a lot of communities on the Gulf Coast, the youth don't have that kind of structure, if I will. And I think the military could give them that.
Right, because we see today on the news there's a shooting in Harrison County, you know, Hancock County, in our city, Jackson County, Morris Point, Mississippi. We're dealing with a lot of murders, a lot of youth getting into crime, you know, and military, you know, if a youth join, I believe that can combat some of the things that's going on in our society today, as you said. But how do you feel about the youth today in the direction that they're going in? What would you do, or what would your advice be to anybody out there that's dealing with a troubled teen or violence, you know?
Well, you know, in certain communities, which mine, in the household that I grew up in, it was no such thing as therapy. The first thing is we need to introduce our young black youth to therapy, and they have to know that it's an outlet and it's a resource that they can use and not be afraid to be vulnerable when they're one-on-one with the counselor, that to talk about things that they can't speak about at home.
That's right.
And I think we have to start there. And if they have the capabilities mentally to go in the military, I think it would be phenomenal experience for them. And we learn by what we see. And you don't know who you're gonna influence and impact with your life. So that's why I'm here today. And I love our youth. And I say go for it. And if the audience, if they can remember, you was on WLOX and you did a little piece on the war, you know, in Afghanistan, because our president now is, you know, withdrawing the troops from Afghanistan. And I wanted to hear from you, how do you feel about that? Because you are a veteran and I love you dearly. And I always want to make sure that you feel that I gave you the right amount of respect that you deserve, because you were phenomenal on my campaign. I just want to tell you that today. Thank you.
But, you know, you being a veteran, you know, how do you feel about the troops coming home, what our president is doing now? You know, speak a little bit to that.
Well, this is what I'll say. I think that leadership is so important. That's the first thing. And it really doesn't matter who's in the seat. It's not about popularity. It's about, can they get the job done? Nobody's perfect. So even we have to look at ourselves first. If you seek to understand the position someone is in first, then maybe you can be okay with someone in the seat, even though you don't agree with everything that they stand for. So I 100% stand behind our commander-in-chief. If you've been in a country for coming up September 11th, you know, 20 years.
20 years.
Let me give you this. If you go to the doctor and they give you medication for a cold, and they say, I'm only gonna give you a 7-day supply, right? Are you gonna go back for another 7-day supply when your cold is gone? No, okay, so once the problem has been, we're gonna say, fixed, once the mission have been accomplished, why do we need to keep taking medicine? Bring our troops home.
Mm-hmm.
They deserve to breathe. They deserve to relax because there's so many going deployment after deployment after
Right.
deployment after deployment. And you cannot understand what they go through unless you've been there.
I believe that.
And it takes a toll on you.
You know, even being a part of the VFW in Pascagoula, the manager Tanya Harris over there, and how I fell in love with that place and those people in there, you know, that have been in the war. And it makes me cry because it seems like they are forgotten, you know, and we look at the VFW as a place of drinking and oh, they just passing away their words. 9 out of 10, those people need somebody to talk to and express themselves. And me being a preacher, I go there as the light of Jesus Christ, right? Mm-hmm. I go there and I listen to their stories. Yes. And it just pricks my heart to hear the things that they go through. They can't sleep at night. You know, they shell shocked, or they hear things going off. They always jumpy, you know. I believe as a community leader, we have to do more for our veterans, you know, and do more for our children that want to join the military. Do you sort of feel that way?
I absolutely do. But what I can tell you is this. Coming up on retirement,
mm-hmm.
there were a lot of things that were said about VAs because, you know, you have we call them barracks lawyers. That means your military lawyers that ain't never been to school.
Yeah. Oh, God. Okay.
The VA here in Biloxi is phenomenal. They have multiple programs for veterans. You can go to school. Even if you go to the WIN Job Center and you're a veteran, they'll pay for you to get a skill.
Nice.
It's amazing to me, all the different programs that they have in place for veterans. A lot of businesses have, you get your little 10% discount, and it's big to me.
Wow.
It's huge to me that you could recognize me. You don't know me.
Yeah.
But if I show you this card, you know, you can kind of empathize or sympathize where I've been in life,
right,
and what I've done for this country, and it means a lot to the veterans.
Hey, well, I salute you, Khadija St. Ann. I'm so proud that you're on the show with me today. Now, if people want to get in contact with you, do you have an email or anything where they can reach you that you can give on air today?
Oh, absolutely. My name is Khadija St. Ann, and I'm on Facebook as Khadija St. Ann. My email is khadijastann@gmail.com. That's KHADIJA. St. Ann is STANN all together, because we're not going to make it too complicated.
Okay.
It's already, you know, a hard name.
But, you know, she's just a wonderful inspiration. If you want to say anything to anybody today, the veterans, the youth, what would be your words that you want to encourage them with?
Discipline is the key to life. What kind of life do you see for yourself? If you discipline yourself, you make a plan, and you go at it by any means necessary, because the only person that can stop you is you.
All right. Well, thank you, Queen.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you so much, and you be blessed. She's getting ready to go to another part of the world, and I'm going to miss you.
Oh,
and I thank you so much for all you did for me, okay?
You're so
I love
welcome.
you.
I love you.
All right. Next up, we have a journalist. He's phenomenal in his writing. He does articles for the Mississippi Free Press. He goes by the name of Mr. Leo Carney. Not only does he do that, he's a chef. He does things in the community. He's just going to blow your mind.
Committed. This goes out to all my queens. Throw your hands up. Yeah. Ladies are feeling alright. All my queens, throw your hands up high. You need to know one thing about you. How you shine so bright. Cause I shine so bright. You're a queen of mine. But you can show me right. So maybe you can fly high. real, cause it's a trend. High heels, makeup, and it's lavish. Got the rubies and the diamonds on my wrist like Cassius Clay. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. The hands can't hit what the eyes can't see. Chess game that I play when I'm moving on my ponies. Don't want none of this, put respect on it. I'm knocking down walls, taking territory. You better hold your peace, cause I'm coming for you. Looking for my king in his kingdom. Hope he's ready for a queen in her queendom. A woman that feareth the Lord shall be praised. A woman that feareth the Lord shall be praised.
Ladies, are you feeling alright? I'ma please throw your hands up high. You need to know one thing about you. How you shine so bright. Please, how you shine so bright. You're a queen in my eyes. And Jesus show you the light. So maybe you can fly high.
I'm chilling with my ladies tonight. We looking good and we feel alright. One thing that you need to know about us, why we shine so bright. We came from the Most High, who put the stars in our eyes. We stay fly, classy, elegant, and wear crowns of light. Real queens in the making, no time for this hating. If you know you're a queen, put your hands up in the air. Like yeah, 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 yeah. Like hey, 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 hey. Like yeah, 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 yeah. Like hey, 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 hey. Like yeah, 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 yeah. Like hey, 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 hey.
Ladies, are you feeling alright? All my queens, throw your hands up high. You need to know one thing about you. How you shine so bright. Please, how you shine so bright. You're a queen in my eyes. And Jesus show you the light. So maybe you can fly high.
Welcome back, everybody. I have the great Mr. Leo Carney on the show. How are you?
Thank you for having me, Shira.
Oh, well, it's a pleasure for you to be here today. Many of the audience members and, TV land don't know when I did my campaign, he wrote some of the most beautiful articles on me, my life, my career, everything that I do. Him and Miss Stacy Cato, I want to make sure I mention her name.
Thank you.
But, since the beginning, with me being involved with the public school system, with the community of Morris Point, he was a part of the campaign, my life, everything that I was doing, and I want to appreciate you today. I'm going to shake your hand again. I really appreciate you for everything you did.
I appreciate it, Shira. Like I said, for people who don't know Shira is probably one of the most charismatic people that I've come in contact with. I met Shira on the Mike Espy campaign. I was doing some work. Mike Espy and I were, going back and forth about a bill that I was trying to get pushed. And so I met Shira there, and ever since, we've just been, a tandem here going at it.
That's
as far
right.
as tackling these issues in the community.
Connected, and that's the big thing. I really wanted you on the show today, not only to talk about, what you're doing in the community, but to let the audience know who you are, like where are you from, and how did you get into journalism?
Again, I'm born and raised here in Mississippi on the Gulf Coast, Biloxi, Mississippi. My dad, Leroy Carney, is a civil rights leader. Was one of the people who were instrumental in getting the beaches integrated. My father went through the bloody wade-ins. Dr. Gilbert Mason was one of the ones who organized this wade-in. You had 125 protesters who went out that day, and we had white mobs who came out and beat my father, a bunch of other ones. My father's one of the, he's probably one of the last few that are still alive to tell his story today.
Amazing.
So that kind of, sparked my interest, as far as community activism, trying to make a change in my community. And the way I got involved in journalism, honestly, it was a challenge. It was a challenge by it was a challenge by Donna Ladd. Donna Ladd is the, she's the editor, and she founded the Mississippi Free Press. She was the over at the Jackson Free Press.
Okay.
And so her, and it's in the Mississippi Free Press. And one of the unique things about that, it's an all women's organization. And so
love it.
Yeah,
love it.
the all women sit on the board. But she did give me a chance to write for her publication.
And you are an excellent writer, if I do say so myself. I know I'm going to share my article, even though I didn't win mayor of Morris Point. I am going to share that article, because when I say if I needed somebody to cover my life, you did, and I'm just very proud to know you. Let's get into what you're doing in the community. I know that you have wrote a couple of articles about banking deserts and also about the deprivation of our education system in the black communities. Let's get a little bit about that. Why are you so passionate about the community and about what's going on? What just drew you to that?
We started an organization called ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, and this chapter we started in 2019 here, based off of a national chapter, Yvette Carnell, Antonio Moore, and so we've organized a group of individuals, throughout the state of Mississippi who are just as passionate as I am. And what kind of drew me to, the disparities. One of the articles that I wrote was about environmental racism, and during my research in this article, I found the connection between neglected tropical diseases and the underlying conditions that the black community that we have, with COVID. And the tie that binds is poverty. Poverty is the tie that binds, and that's the main reason why you have neglected tropical diseases is because of poverty. And one of the issues that our organization we tackled was in Lowndes County, Alabama. When we had we still have a hookworm epidemic, in Lowndes County, Alabama, and so.
Explain that. Explain a little bit about the hookworm epidemic.
Okay. Dr. Peter Hotez, I don't know if you ever heard of Dr. Peter Hotez, but Dr. Peter Hotez is an epidemiologist. You may see him on different, you may see him on CNN all the time talking about vaccinations. And he's one of the ones who came up with a vaccine for neglected tropical diseases like Zika, SARS, and different ones like that, but hookworm is another one that no one talks about. Hookworm, and it comes from contaminated drinking water.
Contaminated drinking water, and so that was one of the reasons why we had to contact Terry Sewell, who's she's the representative in Washington in Lowndes County, and so we kind of put pressure on her. And Catherine Flowers is another gem. She started it's an institute that they look into the tropical diseases, and her and Peter Hotez, they did some work with Sheila Jackson Lee, as a matter of fact, at Baylor University. They came up with this study, and the study pretty much just showed how neglected tropical diseases are tied to poverty, and the majority of the residents who lived in Lowndes County, Alabama, are living in abject poverty, and that brings me to Moss Point. Yes.
And how I was, in this latest piece that I just wrote about banking deserts.
Speak about it.
And I'll speak on banking deserts. Banking deserts consist of communities who do not have a bank within a 5 or 10 mile radius.
Wow.
Right? And so what we've seen over the last few years is we've seen banks close down in our communities, and these bank closures, they add to the poverty, because believe it or not, the further distance you are from a bank, that determines if you'll get a loan or not from a bank.
Wow.
A lot of people don't know that. And when I look, like I say, when I look at the data, when I look at the data, and I see how Moss Point, just 19% of Moss Point is in poverty, right? We have poverty of 19%.
Right.
That's 2% higher than the whole state of Mississippi. All right, and so then you look at the percentage of renters in Moss Point, Mississippi. You know, we have a high percentage of people who rent and who do not own homes.
Right.
Again, this is tied to the banks. This is tied to not being able to have access to capital. All right, under leveraged. So the people who are unbanked, right? They're the ones who are paying more of the higher interest rates. You know, when we talk about prepaid cards.
Yeah,
right? These prepaid card at banks, 300% interest rates.
Oh gosh.
Okay, so then that goes to the lawmakers who passed legislation like the Mississippi Credibility Availability Act, Credit Availability Act.
Mm-hmm.
And this act, what it does is it allows lenders to charge upwards to 300% on a $500 loan. So you see a lot of these payday loan stores gouging these communities, and so that was something that I wanted to point to in the article.
I mean, you ever thought about running for Senate yourself? I'm serious. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
I mean, I've thought about putting myself in a position to be able to eventually run for office at some point. I mean, like I say, you know, you've been an inspiration. You've been an inspiration to me as well. I mean,
wow.
But you know, I feel like right now, the best way to make a difference in my community is doing what I'm doing right now, connecting with people like yourself.
Yes, and partner and network, because I just love everything that you wrote. You know, the banking desert, and I noticed in the community that I'm in, Escataba, a bank had closed.
Yes.
You know, and we have to drive into town to go to this bank. So I am recognizing this and seeing this, and even about the hookworm epidemic with our water. When you look at Flintwood, Michigan, and the things that happen with that water contamination, and then a big lawsuit, you know, things like that. We as community leaders have to stand up and say enough is enough.
Right.
You know, our children are suffering, our community is suffering, and you know, the thing is fear. A lot of people don't want to call it out, but one thing I like about you, you will call it out.
Right.
You know, and it saved lives. So I don't want to just let you lead the show without telling the audience what you really need to say right now. Just share with the audience what's on your heart, you know, what you want us to know, what's going on.
You know, really quickly, just to you know, to add context to the work that we're all doing, you know, in the community. Just wanted everybody to know, like, you know, there are ways that we can partner within the community. Show up to your local city council meetings. Show up to your local city planning meetings.
Yes.
Because a lot of these decisions that are being made on a local level, we have more opportunity to change our communities on a local level, and then work our way as far as the state and the national level.
Yes.
And the one caveat, honestly, that I really am pushing for is I'm pushing for reparative justice for American descendants of slavery.
Yes, ADOS, ADOS.
Yes, ma'am. And so that's my life's goal is to get laws passed like that. We just got some legislation passed in Fulton County, Georgia. It's a proclamation that was signed by the city council that recognizes American descendants of slavery as a disparaged group in Georgia. And so I'm hoping that we can do similar pieces of legislation here in Mississippi.
We will, and we're going to get the job done. I'm so glad that you're here today. I appreciate you so much. How can our viewers get in contact with you?
If you want to get in contact with me, I'm on Twitter at Mississippi ADOS. You can contact me at ADOS. Mississippi 2020 at gmail.com, and I'm also CarneysCatering at.
We didn't even talk. Wait. So you cater to? He's a chef, you guys.
I'm also a local chef here on the Gulf Coast.
Book him.
I have my own catering business, and you know, we do family reunions, class reunions, office parties, and the like. And we just won, as a matter of fact, my restaurant. You know, we just won an award for the Taste of South Mississippi for the Kroc Center. It's a fundraiser that we do every year, and I always try to, you know, give back to our youth that way. So.
Yes, and we're going to put his information up on the screen, so y'all just, you know, contact him, any information. If you need him to cover your story, get in contact with this brother. He's one awesome, phenomenal brother in the community, and I am a part of that ADOS community, and also Miss Khadija St. Ann, our veterans, are part of that.
Yes.
I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Leo, thank you.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. It won't be the last, trust me. You will be back.